Welcome to a football show, home victory Monday edition of the show. Happy holiday edition of the show. Merry Christmas, happy Hanukkah, happy Festivus for the rest of us. The airing of grievances and the feats of strength. Happy Kwanzaa, whatever it is you celebrate. I hope you have a great one. That is Paul Kuharsky. I am Braden Gall. We are brought to you by Sinkers Beverages. And that's right. Not only is it a victory Monday, PK, but it's a victory at home.
I celebrate Festivus all year round. It's an everyday holiday for me.
Do you air the grievances on just weekdays, or is that the weekend also?
No, I mean, I don't have a mic. Well, I have a microphone in front of me on Sunday nights after home games. I had some grievances with some people who were in the podcast, so it's a really constant thing. Like Pro Bowl voting, which should not be held in the hands of the fans at all. That was finalized today. Pro Bowl teams, which are much less relevant than they used to be, come out tomorrow. Skoronski not on there. So, I mean, how could you say he's not one of the 10 best guards in football? Fans should not have a right to vote. It should be taken away from them when they do dumb things like that. Jeff Simmons is third. Jeff Simmons is fifth. DK is third. How could you give people that think that the right to vote? Should be taken away.
On the most complete victory Monday in this entire season, we are going directly to the airing of grievances.
You were asking me about grievances.
No,
that was my grievance from this morning.
Well, here's my request for the no nonsense pain in the butt reporter. Don't be the Grinch, PK. Don't be the Grinch.
Here's my other grievance.
Don't be the Grinch.
There are all kinds of clips out that the NFL had to fix in for Tony Pollard not scoring that touchdown and for the Titans not getting those points, because clearly Jeff Simmons was signaling himself coming in. But Jeff Simmons has to make eye contact with the official, and nobody's mentioning that Oli Udoh was also eligible on that play, and the officials had looked at Oli Udoh and acknowledged him as eligible for the play. And that's on Jeff Simmons. You have to hear yourself be acknowledged into the game. And if you don't, that's not on the official, that's on you.
Anything else you want to complain about?
I'm just take me somewhere else.
We are going to get into the coaching candidates a little bit later on that were reported, of course, where you got a shout out, the no nonsense pain in the butt reporter that you are. We will get into the candidates that are on that list. I think there are a few that they're considering inside the building that are not on that list. Sure. And I think there's a couple on that list that, maybe aren't exactly the ones fans would get excited about, but there's a lot of good names on that list. So we'll get into that. And we'll discuss the AFC playoff picture as well. Some fans paying attention to the Baltimore Ravens, of course, for the Tennessee Titans, for the Draymond Jones trade value. Doesn't look like that one's going to go up in value, but maybe. You never know. But obviously, we're going to spend a lot of time talking mostly positively. We're not going to be the Grinches, because my wife accuses me of also being the Grinch in my family, as I assume you are the Grinch in your family. And Cam Ward is not allowed to be the Grinch, so none of us can be the Grinch this holiday week, this holiday season.
It's a good line by Simmons.
It's a great line. It's a great line. And what's interesting is I've never felt more like seen and like recognized, and I understand Cam Ward now more, because like he is a generally happy, positive person, but I understand his and I think you probably do too. I understand his general default setting to kind of be like, no, we could have done better. No, we could have done better. I think that's actually a good place for most professional athletes, or most people, to exist in. You just got to occasionally stop and smell the roses, or appreciate the success, or understand the progress. And my wife tells me all the time, like, oh, just let him be, man. Just let him be. Just let him be. And I feel like that's what Jeffrey Simmons was like, the spouse in the relationship, saying, like, just let it. Don't be the Grinch, little guy. Okay, like, just hang in there.
Well, I did a video after Cam was, unsatisfied with the Cleveland win. And my complaint about him wasn't the same as a lot of people. I just said, he said week after week after week, it's all about winning. And then they won. And he was like, winning and losing are the same, which made no sense. And it was the first time he really tied himself in a knot or put himself in a corner. And I'd been claiming, this is a sensible guy who talks sense, and he didn't talk sense there. But then a lot of people came at me, oh, Kuharsky doesn't understand the Mamba mentality. Well, he wasn't giving us Mamba mentality in all that lead up. He was saying, it's all about winning. It's all about winning. And then he contradicted himself. He was happier with this win. He's, to the Grinch line, he said, this was very complete complementary win. But I think he does need to learn in the NFL, you don't get to shape wins the way you want them, especially when you're one of the worst teams in the league. You take what you can get, and the W's go in the W column, and you rejoice at them. Now, if you're a 12-4 team and you let one slip away, barely hold on to one that you had control of, then you can maybe nitpick your wins a little bit. And hopefully for the Titans organization, he'll be in that position someday. But right now, I think it's fair for everybody to feel like Cam Ward should celebrate any kind of big-time success he had. And to today's message, that was the best game the Titans have played all year. Competition be damned. They've had the toughest schedule in the league for the vast majority of the season, probably end up with it. A lot of people want to dismiss it. Patrick Mahomes wasn't there. They were out of the play. Screw that. They played a game against an NFL team. They don't control the schedule or the injuries or any of that. And there were plenty of other games that didn't stack up favorably for them. They played well, top to bottom. He played his best game. Most importantly, he's trending in the right direction. Most importantly, and they did. They played a complete game, be it against the third-string quarterback or not, and they got a result.
The context Grinch inside of me wants to say Arizona, awful, Cleveland, awful, Kansas City, trending pretty poorly. I think you can say that and then put it to the side.
Well, those are the only three bad teams they played, right?
And put it to the side and then immediately focus on the positive, which is the progress. Headline at this very strange website that I do recommend, paulkuharsky.com. Cam Ward's growth is becoming the measure of the Titans season. I think that was the headline for your column after the game, and I think that is absolutely the right way to frame this. He was Cam Ward, 21 of 28, throwing 75% completion percentage, 228 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 8.1 yards per attempt, 122.3 quarterback rating. Highest quarterback rating of his career, highest yards per attempt in a single game, most touchdowns, granted, tied for 2, fourth most yards, number 1 completion percentage. Clearly his best performance, and not the least of which is he built on what I was describing last week when I saw, even in the loss to the Niners 2 weeks ago or last week, the calmness with which he seems to be playing now. The game seems to be gradually slowing down, albeit in a slow way, and it looked like the defense wasn't missing the best player on their team. The defense is a solid unit. It's not great, but it's a good defense. And anytime they needed a big play on the goal line, the shovel pass to Chig, great call. The 3rd and 10 was one of the best throws I've seen all season from Cam Ward, where he was in the pocket, under pressure, moved his feet properly, sets and hits Io Manor when they're up 16-9. It's still a 1-score game. It's 3rd and 10. That's where this team misses that opportunity all season long. And he hits Io Manor in a zone coverage, a perfect throw, a great catch. First down inside the 10. They finish the drive. They take a 2-score lead. Game over.
That drive was, if you're looking for the brightest moments of this team, that game is it, and that drive is it, right? I mean, he threw that pass you're talking about was the short pass. He threw a high 20s pass and a 30-something pass to, again, young core players who are going to move down the depth chart ideally as they fill in this roster. Io Manor was one of them. DK was the other one. 2 great passes on a drive that really came out of halftime. And how often have they ever done this? Came out of halftime and established who was going to take ownership of this game. And it was the Titans for sure. We've seen a billion other times it be the other way around, where the Titans come out of half and let a game just disappear on them the first drive, going the other direction with some quick 3 and out, and the other team marches down, or the other team has possession and they march down. And San Francisco, well, a week ago, it was like that. That was a terrific drive, some terrific throws. His rollout to the left and that throw to DK is on the highlights all over the place, which was a terrific throw. And he's getting more attention now for being able to make these kind of throws. The national conversation on him, I think, is changing a little bit.
It's a very weird thing to notice, but on the throw that you guys are talking about, the throw that Cribby and Daniel and you're talking about, where he ends up rolling all the way to his left, throwing back across his body, takes a hit, DK makes a great catch on the sideline. What was really interesting to me, the thing that stands out to me, is how he set his feet on the throw he didn't make. I know that's such a weird thing to notice, but if you watch that play from the back end, from like the 22 view, he drops back quickly, but he flips his hips completely to the right side of the field. He flips his hips totally like he's ready to let it go. Doesn't take it because it's either covered or he's got some pressure in his face, and then completely flips his hips back the other way and to take off to go to his left side. And what I'm starting to notice is the little things that appear to be starting to sink in a little bit. It's not just that the game's slowing down, but he doesn't normally flip his hips even to make the first throw that distinctly and fast and like, boom, feet set, throw, get ready to plant. And he didn't make the throw, but it's probably why he saw it better. It's probably why he made the decision. It's because he had gotten himself into that position really quickly to make the proper throw and then realize that's not it, turns and goes out. The whole thing looks slower. Obviously, the other big part of this is 184 yards rushing 3 weeks ago, 136 yards rushing 2 weeks ago, 164 yards rushing yesterday. The designed zone read inside, or the designed zone scheme inside, it is working. J.C. Latham has had probably the best 3 games back-to-back that we've seen from him, maybe ever.
Yeah, he deserves a round of applause because we were killing him, and now we're not praising him. And Blake Bedingfield had just a paragraph on him, but become more consistent, more focused. And, where all the J.C. Latham has to move to guard people. I'm not patting us on the back. I think you were with me. I said, you got to be patient with the guy, give him the rest of the season and hope he turns it. And lo and behold, patience is paying off in a lot of ends here.
Kuharsky is the best offensive player on the team.
Yeah, well, he's
like,
been
I don't think it's
for a
close.
while.
Yeah, I don't think it's close. Earning that number 11 pick, says Caribbean. Chicken or the egg, says Ed Henry. Is he more comfortable because the O-line is playing better, or is he making O-line look better because the game is slowing down? I think the answer is yes.
I think it's O-line first. I mean, this run game, the run game is certainly establishing things to make him more comfortable. And the penalties, if not down I didn't look at yesterday's penalty total, but the penalties are not putting them in 2nd and 15 consistently over the last 3 weeks. They've been in better down and distances generally on schedule far more. And that's the run game.
Here's the other one. I believe it was the first 8 games, the Titans had a turnover. They had 4 multi-turnover games on offense. I want to say they had a total. I'm trying to do this really fast in my head. It looks like 13 turnovers in the first 8 games. They have had 4 total turnovers in the last 7 games, and 0 turnovers in 3 of the last 5. 0 turnovers yesterday. 0 turnovers against the Niners. So when you cut out the mistakes, you add in a good game plan with an offensive line that adds a complementary rushing attack. Spears was outstanding. Chikakonko has been good on these short passes in the last couple of weeks. I do think the game is slowing down. I think the offensive line setting it all up is absolutely the driver for that, but I think it is working together. And his ability to sort of just, you've got to learn to take what the defense gives you, but also know when to push it, know when to extend the play, and know when not to extend the play. And it seems like he's starting to, hey, I can play within the game. Has to slow down for a rookie at some point. It's just so fast. It's so different than the college game. And you're starting to see Iomanner had a lull in the middle of the season. Starting to see a little bit better production from him. Chig is much better. Gunnar Helm wasn't used as much yesterday, but is becoming a dependable piece for Cam Ward. DK is continuing a heck of a rookie season. Offensive, it's all positive trajectory. And I think the biggest thing for all of this, the offensive line and the quarterback are what they are. Like Latham's not going anywhere, Moore's not going anywhere, Skoronski's not going anywhere, and Cam. But to your point, and I think you said it, what you're starting to see is, DK's not a number 1 receiver, but he's a pretty good number 2. Alec Iomanner's not a great number 2 receiver, but he might be a decent number 3.
I'd push him one more than that. I'd push him to 3 and 4. Ideal.
Fair. But when you move all these guys down a slot, Spears is a hell of a number 2. Gunnar Helm and Chig are really good number 2 tight ends.
Yep.
They do need more top end talent. There's no question about that. But if you go draft a receiver, Carnell Tate at number 6 or whatever,
changes the whole complexion.
Everybody goes down a notch, and everybody they become slotted into their own role that they're supposed to be.
Role. Oladejo too. I mean, right from the start, they kind of indicate, hey, this should be our number 2 rusher. Right. Now we haven't seen him, and he's behind and all that. Put up K. Dodd's most recent thing about yesterday, because I want to address this here. It's a little bit back, but he said, yesterday made the Titans head coaching job more enticing. And I think this is kind of short-sighted. I heard this too about Nagy. Like, hey, Nagy should be completely off the board after yesterday, as if a bad game with a third-string quarterback a week after they're eliminated from 10 consecutive playoff years washes away the guy's entire resume. Like, no, he's got, I don't think he's the greatest choice. He's not my top candidate. But yesterday does nothing to hurt Matt Nagy's career. And if you think a head coach needed to see Cam Ward do that in order to know that Cam Ward could do that when Cam Ward had been trending up, if Cam Ward's numbers were the same as they'd been the week before in San Francisco or the week before in Cleveland, you guys often don't like extrapolate things out, and you take a very small snapshot and that goes into a huge poster board of all these little pictures that go into a mosaic picture, and you magnify it like it's a billboard. It's not. I'm here to tell you, and Braden will tell you the same thing. These are all equally weighted, like, hey, maybe you see him make a throw there. I knew he had that throw in him. It's nice to see him and everything. But if you think potential head coaches around the league are keeping an eye on the Titans job, and they watched that game yesterday and they go, you know what? I was thinking that my number one job in the open field was going to be Arizona, but I saw Cam Ward yesterday and it completely changed my mind. And now it's Tennessee. I mean, that's fan logic. It's not coach logic.
Got that right back to Grinch pretty quickly. 15 minutes into the show, some airing of more.
You're right. I don't know if you saw my video from yesterday as I was leaving the stadium, but if you didn't, you need to watch it. I feel I'm failing the fan base by not doing a good enough job of conveying what this stuff is like. Because somebody yesterday in my post game chat said this must have been really bittersweet for the Titans. They must not have been very happy in the locker room. And I just put this thing together. What? If you think these guys got their job assignment during the week and went through it and executed their job assignment and achieved success for just the third time all season, and went into the locker room and thought, man, it's a shame that we won. Mahomes wasn't out there, so it doesn't really have a lot of meaning to it. And we hurt our draft position. So, in a bittersweet win. Guys work all week to accomplish the mission of what they're doing, just like you do at your job. And if you get what you're going for at your job, there's not a single thing that's bittersweet about it. You're so disconnected if you think something like that I'm failing, Braden's failing, we're all failing at conveying to you what it is these guys do for a living.
In the NFL, especially in the NFL, there is no player doing anything other than the best that they can in that moment. That they know that tape is the thing that matters to everybody. It's all about it is a tank-proof sport because of the contract situations not being guaranteed and the fact that the rosters churn and that everyone's looking to keep their job.
Now, management could give it a nudge, and coaches with lineups and things like that.
In a moment of like honesty in the privacy of his own home, does Mike Borgonzi chuckle with his buddies like, "Oh man, I wish we would have the 2 pick instead of the 4 pick"? Sure, he probably does. But the players, not for 1 second, have ever tried to lose a football game or been upset about draft status. It's just not a thing that happens ever. So,
Nick Stuss put out an excellent thing today. Like, one is discernibly better than all the other picks, but after one, the weighted value of those picks from 2 to in the 20s is virtually the same.
You can get Hall of Famers everywhere in the first round. So you got to get the right guy. We'll see. We'll see. Certainly it feels like this administration has earned more trust and has more ability to do that right than either of the last two general managers. Certainly John Robinson had a great start, well-documented, great start to his time, but a horrible finish. So, all right, let's see here.
Ed wants me to pledge as a New Year's resolution that I will stop failing them as fans.
Stop failing.
And I will attempt. Also, I'm going to lose some weight.
Wow. Okay. Look, Richard says you're pretty good. You got a pretty good gig for a moron, George. Talking to George. George giving you a hard time. Sam said, did I miss it or did they finally throw the reverse in the trash? Man, it was a good win. Good to see you, Sam. Caribbean Dan's got some numbers here for Cam Ward. I'm going to drop some of those in there momentarily. This is an interesting one. Tavondre Sweat is now the 5th highest graded interior run defender out of 128 per PFF, having an amazing season. I don't know about that last one.
If you want no pass rush out of your interior run defenders, he's terrific.
Carnell Tate would open up this offense in so many ways.
I like
Carnell
Tate
I agree.
Great deal.
No yak from that guy, but he does stretch the defense. He will force teams to respect his ability to make contested catches down the field, which frankly Cam Ward might need on those deep outside shots. You need a contested catch monster like a DeAndre Hopkins, one of those guys. I want David Bailey over wide receiver.
I like David Bailey also.
He's a great talent. He is a pass rushing monster. I don't know if he's a full-time defensive lineman. Like, I don't know that's the only question about him is he truly just a designated pass rusher, the DPR, as they call him?
Bustin' Diamond there says, people seem to forget we drafted Corey Davis at 5 and A.J. Brown in the 2nd round. Are you touting the Corey Davis pick as good?
No, I think he's saying
we got the good player in the 2nd round and the bad player.
Doubling up.
Yeah, that's fine. You got a better chance higher. You got a better chance higher. I mean, the Corey Davis pick was terrible.
He says, I'm starting to get more in the draft Jeremiah Love camp. I think that's a second first round
expense
pick.
Of what?
It's only, to me, it's only if you have a second first round pick.
Oh, God, I've been doing a lot of mock drafting stuff lately. Trading out, even last night I did a couple, trading out of 5 or 4, wherever they are right now. And I've been coming out with a good edge rusher and a good wide receiver.
Oh, yeah.
Drafting at like 14 and not thinking at all about it. And now Love's gone in both circumstances. But I think Love is even a luxury if you have 2 first rounders. If you make the kind of deals that I do, which are I mean, it's obviously tricked up to get you engaged. You're not going to get the kind of deals I do. But even if you could get the kind of deals that I've been getting in these things, and you wind up with like 14 and 34, which you have already, and 40 and your 3rd, you can come out of that beautifully like I want to, where you either have 2 edges or 2 corners or 2 receivers and address all 3 spots. And boy, do you feel good when you see that stuff on paper in a fantasy land. But if you put a running back in there, you screw it up.
And again, it's not hard to look at yesterday's game and go, all right, they probably need to re-sign Chigakonkwo. Gunnar Helm is growing. Tajay Spears is one of the only players I get excited about seeing with the ball in his hand in space. Tony Pollard is a replaceable player, but is productive because the offensive line is doing great and Cam is showing progress. That's the entire offense, PK. That's the whole thing. Like, the running game is really good. The offensive line is playing well. The quarterback is making progress. The young receivers are doing what they need to do to kind of maintain depth on the roster, and the tight ends are playing decent football. That's the whole thing.
Yeah. Tony Pollard will be 29 in April. Would you? I know it's uncouth. I'm saying this while looking at the free agent market. Hold on to him for a couple days until you see how it shakes out.
Yeah, sure. I
mean, if there's no money at the front of that year, which I don't think there is. I'm
all about being as shrewd as possible in this situation, because you have limited resources and every resource has to be maximized to climb out of the bottom. And the offense right now appears to have momentum at almost every position group. So I don't hate Pollard as a veteran player who's dependable. I just think there's nothing that he's going to bring, I don't think, next year that you
can't find somewhere else.
I think that's how I feel about it.
Mid-round draft pick. And
here's my other. I think he's a solid player. Like, he's a good player.
The guy I'm coming around on. And I still think Pollard's very close to washed. Because he doesn't have second gear, right? Though he has had a couple longer runs. Cushenberry, because there's cohesion with this unit right now, and because it took so freaking long for them to have any kind of cohesion, I'm worried about if you replace 2/5 of this line next year,
you lose momentum.
You lose momentum with the cohesion again. And if you keep 4/5 of it and only replace Zeitler, and maybe replace Zeitler with Jackson Slater from your own roster, maybe. I'm not sure that he's ready or the guy they want him to be or anything of that. We don't know. Maybe he's in a competitive situation. Maybe they bring in another veteran. But if you're only replacing 1/5 of it, it makes me feel a lot better about continuity. And Cushenberry, now the matchups haven't been that tough. the last 3 weeks. All right.
Chris Jones, I mean.
Yeah.
So Suss is of a belief that, and he said this on Thursday's show, that they have to target a center in the draft. Now, it's not a good center class in the draft.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really good guards and tackles that will be converted to centers in the draft potentially. But I think they need an interior offensive line, but ideally somebody that can play either position. So that way you can have this new rookie and Jackson Slater go in there with maybe Cushenberry, to your point, Corey Levin, and see what the competition looks like. Now, I will say, I don't think you're as concerned about the momentum departing if Corey Levin is still a part of it, because he was a big part of that momentum growth over the last month and a half anyway.
He's not a starter, though. I think he's a good plug-in guy.
Cushenberry has a $12 million cap hit this year, coming up next year. $16 million cap hit at age 30 in 2027. That's the year.
What's the savings if you get rid of him this year?
$9 million dead cap hit next year, so you save $3.5 million bucks, and then
it's not that big of a savings.
And then $4 million dead cap hit in the age 30 year. That's a $16 million actual hit. So you would save $12 million, and then 3.5. You would save $15 million over 2 years if you move on from him.
I'd put him more on the inside than the outside now.
I think that's fair. They do not have an answer for him either, though. That's the key. Like, there's no answer there. Like a replacement.
So Linderbaum, right, is a free agent to be. What if you love him?
Is he? I think he's a great player, but is he not doing? Is that not just doing the Lloyd Cushenberry plan again?
It is. But if you think he's substantially better, if your new coach loves him, if he's more your style, who knows?
I'm going to roll through some of these comments here. We're getting behind here. Come with the Francisco. Top 6 picks need to be rinse and repeat. Wide receiver, edge, corner. I don't have a problem with that. Fans are idiots. BK says Clubhouse. Don't listen to the fans. The players don't give a solitary F-bomb about a draft pick. I completely agree. If you don't enjoy Angry Paulie, you're not a real one. I've been listening to this for 20 years, and it never fails to disappoint me. Tighten up yesterday.
Never fails not to disappoint him.
Sorry.
I'm hoping that's what he meant.
Yeah. Never fails to disappoint. Period. Like, it always delivers, I think is the right way to say it. PK's New Year's resolution: stop failing us.
Yeah, I love that.
That's good. What about Bain last Saturday? That's going to be in my story, because Ruben Bain had 3 sacks and blocked a kick. Now, I was talking to James Foster on a hot read. He does not know if he is an actual defensive end. But here's what I would say.
I'm not touching a guy if I don't know what position he plays.
He makes any defensive line better. Period. He is a great football player.
All right. Well,
and I like great football players.
Yeah, I do too. And that makes him sound. I'm not saying anything like body shape, but that was what Javon Curse was, right?
Exactly.
They knew he would be a good football player.
His arms are short.
Arms.
His arms are short. He is a leverage monster, and absolutely, you cannot beat him. Like, he's kind of what you want Tavondre Sweat to be to some degree. Like, he just never loses one-on-one reps. You cannot get lower than him, and you cannot move him. And I don't know if that means he's a true defensive lineman, a true outside pass rusher. Yeah. I don't think he is necessarily.
He needs to be an outside pass rusher. If you love him, but he's an end. If he plays Sebastian Joseph Day's position, well, that's not what fixes the Titans' problems. And so, therefore, if that's the pick at that spot, you got to get out.
Atlanta traded 2 first-round picks last year for 9 overall to get James. They didn't draft James Pierce at 9 overall, did they?
Well, they traded they did get out of the first round.
Yeah. I thought James Pierce was drafted like first pick of the second round or something like that. Anyway, I'll have to I'll have to go back and check that. So let's see here. The Tajay touchdown run was a thing of beauty. I get that Jeremiah Love is great, but I'd rather spend money on a running back than draft one high. That's preaching from the PK.
You also have to consider where the markets are. There is a little bit of a running back market. There isn't, wide receiver one market.
Here is a tease for a conversation coming up later, because I have been asked about this multiple times. Some of it's tongue-in-cheek, some of it's serious, some of it's like, how many more wins are the Titans going to have before Mike McCoy gets a look? And there's the question here. Does Mike McCoy get a chance at head coach next year if the Titans win out?
You shouldn't want that. And I hope that's fear. He absolutely should not get a look. Mike McCoy.
No, I agree.
I'm going to write about this tomorrow. Mike McCoy doesn't have his fingerprints on a lot of this, to me. Does not.
I agree. I do think Bo Hardigree is getting much better at the job. I think very clearly his feel for play calling has improved significantly, I think.
Atlanta traded for the Rams first, 20s, I believe, says Sammy.
We should be able to look this up
This
on the
year's
internet.
first to move up from the second last year. Caribbean Daniel, who I dislike, said.
That's unnecessary, Grinch.
Well, he's blocked on Twitter by me.
I
need to acknowledge it.
Rascal says Snead is gone for sure. Makes sense to move on from Ridley and bring in someone like Pierce or Dobbs. Romeo Dobbs would be a really nice asset, but I don't think the Packers are going to let him go. Only the Ravens center would be the immediate upgrade to Cush. And so, Cushion Levin would be a solid answer, not long term. It's still a solid answer. Let's see here. Let's pivot to head coaching preferences. Not quite yet. We'll do that just a little while. The defense.
Keep that Shawnee Pat. Keep that handy.
Okay. All right. How does Paul feel about Breer's reporting that Amy Adams Strunk is letting Brinker and Borgonzi make this head coaching hire 100% and will be out? I think
I have not seen this report. I have not seen this report. I need to go find this report. If she's doing that, I'm not saying she's doing it because I said it, but that's exactly what I said needed to happen. It's exactly what I said needed to happen. And if she's doing that, it's the smartest thing she's done in a long time.
I have been under, and I've said it on this show with Sus. I think I said it with you. I have been of the impression, let's call this informed speculation. I have been under the impression that Mike Borgonzi is completely in charge of the coaching search until the final decision needs to be made, and that Brinker will be involved in the final decision. That if I had to describe it in a way, that's how I would describe it.
That's why if they were to hire Matt Nagy, there's no avoiding the extended conversation about hiring your boy.
Yeah,
they would have to interview 15 guys, and he would have to make a very convincing case that he was still the best guy. And there's still no way to avoid Nagy being tagged as Brinker's boy, which creates a very uncomfortable situation.
This is a good comment here from Ray Skull. Kansas City lost so bad to the Titans, they're apparently moving cities.
Yeah, people are talking like they're moving to Topeka. They're not moving to Topeka. They're moving to the other side of Kansas City, which is Kansas instead of Missouri.
It was the Topeka City Council, apparently, that had to vote on it. So they voted on building a new stadium for the Chiefs across the state line, which would be the second NFL team to leave the state of Missouri in the last 10 or 12 years. That's just a great comment, though. Excellent comment. 5 stars. No notes there. Sammy says, what about someone like Pitts? Here's my issue. I love Kyle Pitts as a football player. I think he does too many of the same things that Gunnar Helm does. He's more athletic. He's a better version of that. But they are both sort of like exterior slot, split out tight ends who can make big plays down the seam. They have a similar body type. Like, I think the reason Chig and Helm work so well together is they got different skills, and it doesn't mean either of them is a number one. I think they still need to, it's not a priority. I think they're good enough to manage the position for a little while, but they don't have a number one elite tight end. And frankly, not many NFL teams do.
No, I've just watched Chig walk off the field several times in the last month and thought, man, he looks like he's shrinking. Now, maybe it's because they have a bigger guy now in Helm. But when I
physically smaller?
Yes. He's shockingly small.
Well, he's short. He's not a tall
player. Short. Which makes me wonder about the duration of him. And
he's getting better, though, this year as it goes along.
We'll just see how long. I think Chig's all about the market, right? Yeah. You get him at the right money, you take it. But if he goes above your number, I don't think, I think it'd almost be looked at. I know he's a much different, it's a much different story, but I think they'll treat him like NWI.
I'm at this. I would bring him back. I think he's one of your few weapons that you can throw the ball to 2 yards downfield, and then he's going to break 2 tackles, and he's going to get you 8 or 9 or 10 yards. He is not an expensive piece, but why add a need to your team? He's got a ton of personality. I think he's one of the few guys that keeps things positive personality-wise around the locker room. I think he's a great 2B, like to Gunnar Helm's 2A, because I don't think either one of them is a true number one, but they are sort of like tight end 2A and 2B, and I think it's a nice complementary group. I think clearly they are starting to figure out how to execute those short passes to him down the stretch these last 3 games, and Cam's getting better at it. That's the other one that I think stands out to me. Those quick short passes, Cam's doing them right now. The footwork is better. The arm slot is better. The delivery is on time. He's not just trying to rush it as fast as possible. And so that's another one where I think it's starting to come around. So
Slow down. Yeah, a lot of mentions of Isaiah Likely. He would be interesting.
He's a big dude.
Yeah, certainly addresses
Very
my
large.
shortness issue.
I think the only thing about yesterday that I think is related to the competition is the defense. I think the fact that you're going up against a third string quarterback without any starting secondary players is, I think the defensive performance was probably blown way out of proportion, not the other side. I think the offense, you're a Titans fan, you should celebrate progress from the quarterback, progress from the offensive line, progress from the young skill players, progress in the running game. I think all of it is good, positive stuff that people should celebrate.
I agree. Richard there says could use a replacement for Barton snaps. I mean, maybe it's James Williams who wasn't bad yesterday. I wouldn't eliminate him. Barton was a bad signing. It's just a bad signing.
Which one? There's one of them that has no dead money after their contract. I think
might be Barton. I mean, Ernest Jones, they complained about what he was going to be expense wise, and he's not that much more expensive than Cody Barton. And boy, would he have been a guy to have.
Barton's cap hit is 8.2 and 8.7 the next 2 years. His dead money is 4.9 and 1.7. So you'd save more than, you'd save 70% of the contract.
Yeah.
I can't remember if there's
something. You gotta have an alternative. That's the thing. That now middle linebacker, inside linebackers tend to move in free agency more. So, I haven't looked at the list, but I presume if you're shopping there, you can find guys. But the Titans are not big on spending at that position historically, and I know Brinker's feelings about the spot. So,
well, I'm having trouble. There's somebody that is got basically zero money left on their contract, because I think Ridley and Snead they're gonna cut. They're going to be both gone. Cushenberry is an interesting one, so we shall see. Let's see here. James Williams and Cedric Gray are tackling machines, says Caribbean. Daniel, is Denard Wilson returning next year? Is Denard Wilson returning next year? Should we hire a defensive advisor like Vrabel did with Bowen or Jim Schwartz from Derek?
Why are you hiring a defensive advisor before you have a head coach or a defensive coordinator? You're putting the cart before the horse. They don't need a defensive advisor. They need a coaching staff. I don't think that Denard Wilson will be on this coaching staff, because I think you're hiring a new staff. I think some guys are going to be back because some positions are hard to fill. It's hard to fill an entire coaching staff. And Callahan kept some Vrabel people, and Vrabel kept some Malarkey people. It's just the way it works. And there'll be recommendations from Borgonzi and Brinker. I think Luke Stocker's very much on the rise in their eyes, and they'd like to find a spot for him. Bones Fassel. Under contract for 2 more years, unless this new guy's got a special teams guy that he just absolutely loves. I think he'll be absolutely encouraged to keep him. And then there'll be a handful of position coaches that are kept, and we don't know who those are, because they'll be based on the new coach liking him and not having easily accessible alternative.
I don't think you and I talked about because I think this was after our show where Cam Ward sort of expressed some interest, kind of slowly but surely expressing sort of his opinion on the coaching search, and then eventually after some follow-ups got to where he, hopes that he's involved. I think every player wants to be heard and felt like they are a part of the process, but I don't think at the beginning, and I don't think at the end. I don't think it's when you have 23 candidates, and I don't think it's when you have 2 candidates. I think it's when you have
5 candidates.
Yeah, when you're in the middle, I think is great. But I along the lines of the coaching staff, do you think Hardegree showing growth? I'm not saying he should be the play caller or the coordinator, but because of his relationship with Cam since the beginning, is there value in his kind of coaching him up as well? Because it seems like he is getting better.
Yeah, I don't know how to feel about this. I will say, before they picked Callahan, I thought, well, keeping Charles London around wouldn't be the worst thing for Will Levis, to have a bridge for some continuity. Right. And Cam talked a ton about continuity at the beginning. And, he's changed coaches a lot in going to 3 different schools. And now he's going to be changing coaches again. So I don't think a little bit of continuity would be bad. But again, is this an offensive coach? Is it a defensive coach? Is he coming with a full stable of people available to him? Does he think that some continuity thread would be significant? Yeah. If so, maybe he thinks of Hardegree as Cam's guy. What does Cam truly think of Hardegree? Yeah. All of those questions become relevant to me.
Francisco says Jalen Harrell's been kind of nice lately. Might step into the the Hadi Ward role if we don't re-sign him. Here's the thing: I think they wanted Femi Oladejo to do what Jalen Harrell has done.
I'll say this about Jalen Harrell, and I talked about this in my pod last week. I talked to him for a couple minutes. Jalen Harrell would have had no snaps this year if things panned out the way they were supposed to. If Oladejo stayed healthy, and if Draymond Jones wasn't traded because they were an average football team like we expected them to be. So he's a silver linings guy, right? They put him out there because they had nobody else to put out there, and they let him work and let him work and let him work. And so it's been a while. He's not been getting a ton of snaps, but he's been playing on a weekly basis. Yeah. And I talked to Ben Bloom about this last week. He's finally starting to figure some out, stuff out. And chances that he wouldn't have had. And so what he does is, presuming
he gives himself a chance.
Right. Presuming the next coach doesn't come in and completely dislike his traits or whatever, he's at the very least on the bottom of the depth chart at edge at camp next year. He bought himself that.
He's this year's Daryl Baker.
Yeah,
what he is.
He's not as good as Daryl Baker, but it's a different position where not as regularly on the field.
Sure.
But in a similar way, yeah, he's got a place on the depth chart next year going into camp where he gets himself a thorough look.
And Baker never really was in a position to be a starting player last year till the end of the year, and then all of a sudden, second half of the season, there's injuries. He gets opportunity, plays a little bit better than everybody expects, and gives himself a shot to earn a roster spot.
Yeah, I hope his trajectory is better in his second year, frankly, Harrell, because Baker was better last year than he is this year.
Yes. No. Well, that's the problem is that I think he got kind of promoted beyond the point of competency, and I think that's where Harrell is not a starting edge rusher in the NFL, but he can be your fourth. And if you have a good fourth, that makes everybody else a little bit better.
Let me grab a depth chart here.
There you go. Sinkers Beverages, perfect time for me to tell everybody about Sinkers Beverages. Make sure you have, it's a couple days till the holidays here. Sinkers Beverages is obviously not where you go to buy the gift for your significant other or best friend or mom or dad or your kids, obviously. But it is the place to absolutely supplement all of your gifts. Sinkers is like a great number 3 receiver, a great backup running back. You got to have these guys to be good. And it means you want to buy nice bourbon. You want to, stuff the stockings with barware or cocktail recipes or award-winning beer fridge items. They got a THC corner as well. The whole deal, you can absolutely go in there and finish your Christmas shopping, finish your holiday shopping. For anybody that you are buying for, you'll find something in there that will supplement the gift you're buying them already. It's a great place to go finish it up. Sign up for the in-crowd. Their customer appreciation organization. It's fantastic. They don't bother you too much. You can search Uber Eats and have the booze delivered directly to your house as well. They're full service, man. So just go check out Sinkers Beverages over in East Nashville. Over 40 years, award-winning.
Excellent people. Go to Caribbean Daniel's last 2 things, and you'll see why I feel about him like I do, and I'll dismiss. Harrell is next year's Restrepo. Restrepo might be next year's Harrell.
He's kidding.
Might be next year's Harrell. And then the one before that's even worse.
He's kidding about that.
Go get the one before that.
Arden Key is the most expendable player on the team.
Let me give you a list here.
Let
me give you Drew Moss, Mason Kinsey, Garrett Dellinger. That's just on offense. C.J. Ravenel, Joe Bacci, Eric Hallett, Khair Elam, and the guy that was up from the practice squad that these guys want to praise, who they like, Keemon Hall. They like him because he made 2 tackles and he ran around like a wild man. And after one of the tackles where he ran 10 yards upfield like a wild man, he had to stop, run back to the huddle real fast, and miss the next play because he was busy celebrating. You made a fucking tackle, dude.
Jalen Harrell, I don't agree with his – I agree with his first point, though. I think I'd much rather see Jalen Harrell than Arden Key next year.
Oh, Arden Key's gone, but he's not the most dispensable player on the Titans. I just named you.
Oh, 10. I got you. He's the most dispensable starting player. Something like that maybe is what we're getting after. Maybe that's what we're talking about here.
First real comedy. Be funny.
Fair enough.
Give me control of this thing.
Fair enough.
Give me control. I want control. I want power.
No, which one do you want? What do you want to put up there, PK?
No, I'll just block somebody.
No, I'm not. I don't block. I have a staunch no block policy.
I have a staunch block people that annoy me policy.
That's fair. That's totally fair. You can live your life, PK.
Well, that's why I want. I'm half the show. I want half control.
No nonsense, pain in the butt reporter Paul Kuharsky here on a football show.
Not handsome.
Don't we all secretly want McCoy to get the job so PK can run the stairs with him and get exclusives?
Terrell said he had a nice conversation. There were no exclusive. I guarantee you that.
Mike McCoy is not a real coaching candidate. That brings us to Deanna Rossini's list. Matt Nagy, Kansas City. Lou Anamuro, Indianapolis. Jeff Hafley, Green
Lou
Bay.
Anamuro was a good coach. Jeff
Anthony,
Hafley's an up and coming.
Well, let me finish.
I'm going to comment on one at a time. I'm not going to remember them all.
Anthony, I'll bring them up to you. That's my job, is to set you up. Anthony Campanile, is that how you say it? Jacksonville?
I think so.
Chris Shula, Los Angeles. Matt Burke, Houston. Jesse Minter, the Chargers. A lot of defensive names on that list. None of them outside of Hafley was a head coach for 1 year in college football. Different. Nagy, of course, was a head coach. Otherwise, none of them have a head coaching experience. So first of all, before we get to the specific names, I want you to tell me what you make. I think there's a number of names that they are considering that are not on this list.
Sure.
But Rossini's very well sourced. And so I'm curious what you make of the whole group and what it tells you about the strategy for the Tennessee Titans, which is a lot of defense and no head coaching experience.
Look,
I thought that's interesting.
There could be, great winners on that list. The only one I know personally is Matt Burke, who was in Tennessee for 4 years when he was starting out. He's a Jim Schwartz guy. Good dude. Went to Dartmouth. Coached at the beginning at Harvard. So super smart. But if I'm picking a coordinator, an inexperienced coordinator, here's the thing I would have learned from Callahan. I want a guy from the opposite side of the ball from the head coach. So he's coming. I think his previous stop was in Miami, and I think he was in Miami when Flores was in Miami. So a defensive guy with a defensive guy. And he's now in Houston under a defensive guy. So he's coordinating a defense under a defensive head coach, right? I don't want that. I'd want the defensive coordinator of an offensive head coach, which would have meant he had more power. So you're talking about young guys, some of them coordinating on the same side of the ball as the head coach. And then I need a guy who's strong enough. I mean, the main thing about any of these lesser known defensive coordinators is going to be what kind of offensive coordinator can they bring? And why would these guys, outside of having one of the 32 jobs in the league and a nice checkbook, be able to draw a very good offensive coordinator candidate outside of dangling some stability, which is a harder thing to sell here, dangling Borgonzi, having Cam Ward, who's looking attractive and, people liked in the draft last year. Hopefully your guy liked them in the draft last year. I don't see you going out and getting the level of coordinator that I might like. So those are my concerns with that. And Matt Burke, again, is the only one.
I agree. Personally, I love a Robert Saleh type hire with head coaching, leadership, culture experience. You don't have to teach to do the job on the job, and a young and up and coming offensive coordinator to say, dude, spend time with Cam, just go to the lab, be in the lab, go over there. Don't worry about when to challenge plays or how many people are on the field or all the stuff that you need to know to be the head coach. Clearly, Callahan was overwhelmed with that. A lot of people are. So that's like the strategy direction I like. Of this list, Chris Shula is probably the name I like the most, to your point. A dominant defense that continues to churn talent, loses Hall of Famers, and gets better. And opposite side of the ball as the head coach. I like that as well. So Shula is one of my favorites. I think Minter, he will be a candidate for the Michigan job. The problem is I think he's too toxic from the rightly or fairly or unfairly. He's too tied to Harbaugh and Sharon Moore in the previous athletic department regime. So I don't think he gets the Michigan job. I'm not sure I'd want to give him a head coaching opportunity just yet, but he's a very, very good defensive coordinator. I kind of feel the same thing about Jeff Hafley. Very good defensive coordinator. I don't know what he is like as a leader, quote unquote, leader of men. So I don't know as much about the other I don't know as much about, Indianapolis and Jacksonville are both doing well on defense this year. So I don't know. We'll see. Nagy's underwhelming to me.
I don't know also, why the list they gave her would be packed with defense. Like, I'm not anti-defensive coach, but again, you put yourself in a position where if you have successful offense, you're churning offensive coordinators. And for every Arthur Smith, You have the potential for a Todd Downing. And why would you want to go through that?
I really don't mind. I don't mind the Arthur Smith hire. I really don't mind that.
I'm saying if you hit gold with an offensive coordinator like Arthur Smith, you lose him, and then you have the odds of winding up with a Todd Downing, and then you're
no. I'm saying Arthur Smith for head coach. I'm saying I don't mind him there. Give him a better shot. He's got great relationships inside the building. This is Andrew. Are you ignoring Brian Callahan? I prefer an OC coach. Never had one. That's why we oscillate between being good and bad all the time.
What was Mike Mularkey?
Was it Ken Wisenhunt also? I
never had one except for those three.
I don't. Again, Brian Callahan,
you're the guy that's not blocking people, Chief.
Brian Callahan. Andrew's been an avid and wonderful listener for a long time. It doesn't mean everybody gets their comments right every time. Okay, don't throw them out. Here's the thing, Brian Callahan. This is the rule Suss has instilled in me that I'm taking to the grave now. The OCs for great quarterbacks almost exclusively do not work out as head coaches elsewhere. The only one is Andy Reid. That's the only one. You can go back in decades, and every single one that comes from a great quarterback and goes and becomes a head coach does not succeed.
I don't like the Joe Brady idea at all.
I agree. He had Joe Burrow in college and took that job and turned it into the job that he now has with Josh Allen. It's pretty good. That's pretty good stuff. Wisenhunt.
Why are you saying OC coach? It's called offensive coordinator. Nobody calls him offensive coordinator coach.
Oh, he's talking about.
I don't know what he's talking about. Yeah, it's very complicated and it's annoying.
You're saying hire a good OC is what you're saying.
I don't know what he's saying. That's why it's so distracting. That's why a nice mute would work.
What do you? Anybody else on this list that I think Hafley and Nagy. To your point earlier about Nagy and we just hired our buddy. Hafley is probably in that group as well. I don't think that Brinker overlapped with him there, but he certainly, the Packers thing is going to be, is going to be a conversation for sure.
Here we go now too. I got to stop.
I'm not going to talk about McDaniels.
No, I can't look at the comments. Callie was a glorified quarterback coach. Callie was what his title was. He was offensive coordinator, a non-play calling offensive coordinator, but he was an offensive coordinator. He wasn't a glorified quarterback coach. He was what his title was. He was paid for what his title was, and the facts are the facts. We're not just going to make up something else other than what he was. Okay?
Yeah. No, I agree.
If I'm going to participate and engage with the commenters, then the commenters are making a contract with me that we're going to talk sense, not nonsense. This is the worst group we've had in a long time. Shape up.
That's why Kubiak is a great option. He has good offenses with mid or worse quarterbacks. That is the argument for Clint Kubiak, and it's why Suss says
I like Clint Kubiak.
I agree.
He's my two behind Saleh.
I agree. And I don't want to, I'm not saying anyone in the comments is saying this, but I don't want anything to do with Josh McDaniels. I think that experiment's been run many times.
McDaniels is not going to be a head coach.
Terrible head coach. All right. Anything else? Anything else you want to get to?
No, just don't overcredit Mike McCoy, and don't think that Mike McCoy is going to wind up with this job. Give him a gift basket.
All right. Sinker's Beverages, where you can get good stuff to fill that gift basket if you want for the holidays. If you're looking for some gifts to stuff stockings, office place, people in your community, just a small, like, hey, I'm thinking about you, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, whatever it is you're celebrating kind of idea, make sure you go to Sinker's Beverages. By the way, I've seen a lot of eggnog talk in the comments. It took me until I was about 40 years old to really start to like eggnog, and now I literally cannot wait to drink eggnog. I don't know what's happened. I don't know if it's an old person thing. Do I need a newspaper in my hand when I do it and wear slippers? I don't know, but I love eggnog.
I've not had eggnog for so long that I can't really remember if I like it or not.
We put some bourbon in it, put some brandy in it, something to spice it up a little bit. But I'm now a huge fan. It's not that I didn't try it too. I had tried it for years and I just never liked it. Now I love it because I'm getting old.
Taste buds change every 7 years, they say. So
knock
it up.
Is that true? 7 years?
That is what I have been told. 7 years.
I love that.
So imagine what you might like in 7 years.
You never know.
I tell my kid this, and he wants me to try mushrooms because I haven't eaten mushrooms in probably,
like just regular mushrooms
since I was 7. That's
dude,
the most disgusting food in the world.
Mushrooms is, dude. I one of the things we do every single Christmas Eve, never fail. The number one item I make, big giant stuffed mushrooms with some sausage, some sage, some sausage, some cheese.
Here,
some
honey.
breadcrumb.
Have a plate of fungus.
Stick them in there. It's so delicious.
Fungus.
I put mushrooms on my pizza. I make soup with mushrooms and kale. Mushrooms are delicious. They're delicious. They're fantastic. I can't help it that you have. Yeah, get trippy, PK. Get trippy. The magic ones are even better. Here's what we're gonna do. In the off season, I'm gonna take PK for some psilocybin microdosing trips. We're gonna go to Arizona and we're just gonna hang out in a yurt.
Hell no. I don't want to be all dizzy and spacey and hallucinating for. I like the human condition as
you don't hallucinate necessarily with.
No,
with,
not necessarily.
With no, that's not. It's not a hallucinogen. It's not a hallucinogen. I mean, it's you. I don't know. I've never done them.
You're certainly talking like you're an expert.
I don't know. It just feels like you're really drunk. That's all. But like without any of the bad side effects. And there's a lot of science around the medical value of being outside of yourself, PK, and seeing your place in the world. And when you see your place in the world, you realize how all the things that you yell about on this show are not that important.
Oh, I know they're not important. Yeah, and then I'll get a tattoo to enjoy the pain. Yeah, I think we've acknowledged we're on different planes about.
That's true. I do like it. I do like the pain of the tattoo. That's true.
Well, we'll see Braden after the holiday with his new sleeve.
I'm gonna be
shroomed out and sleeved.
That would
be your next podcast.
I would totally go to a shaman and do ayahuasca for sure. I would totally do it. I would do it.
You're going to pay a guy to take you up a mountain to vomit.
Well, I mean, hopefully, look, okay, PK, you obviously didn't listen to Nashville.
I could get you to vomit.
You obviously didn't listen to Nashville, 7-part series on the history of craft beer in Nashville.
And I have $1,500. I'll make you vomit.
And one of the most interesting things that I learned in doing the research and doing an interview with an evolutionary scientist on the value that alcohol, beer and wine in particular, not liquor, but beer and wine that you can get at Sickers Beverages, by the way, has on human existence and civilization. We don't exist as a species without a little bit of alcohol, but also we don't exist as a species without a little bit of these other things that occur naturally on our earth, which is psilocybin and ayahuasca and peyote and marijuana. And all
don't exist if we didn't do ayahuasca?
It is. Well, there's a reason it wasn't the one of choice.
Get into some junk science here.
There's a reason that alcohol became the drug of choice for humanity.
And welcome into the Joe Rogan podcast.
No, we use facts and science. I have facts and science on my side. I'm just telling you. I'm telling you. Religious ceremonies, coming of age ceremonies, all these things that have happened for thousands of years, Paul, long before you complained about Hall of Fame voting. It was a huge part of our existence and a huge part of tribes coming together and people. It's you just got to let it.
We did a lot of dumb things as we evolved. Not everything we did. It's smart.
No, the dumb thing was in the 1950s, the government with conservative policies not studying this stuff anymore. That's the problem. It's been good for humanity for thousands of years. It's only in the last 100 that we've decided, this is bad. War on drugs, bad. It's the only time.
I mean, you took us a place I wasn't going. I was saying ayahuasca's stupid.
I disagree.
That's my stance.
There's entire cultures that disagree with you.
Well, you go have your visions as you crawl in a gutter filled with the vomit of your associates. Sounds thrilling.
Jesus, I don't want to do that. Have you seen the one that Aaron Rodgers went to? It was like a 7-star resort. It was fancy. Anyway,
team up with Aaron Rodgers. That's a good guy to link up with.
We should all do a nice panchakarma from time to time. Okay, for Paul Kuharsky, I'm Braden Gall.
Speaking of Chinese,
Sam says, look, you want to get some premium subscribers to paulkuharsky.com. You offer to do some ayahuasca on live stream.
I follow the law. My business is a law-abiding, law-believing business. Let's leave it at that. 440, I don't know about. I just collect a paycheck.
Yeah, we're a more liberal entity, PK.
They're breaking the law over there. Yeah. Investigate.
Yep, there you go. All right.
Hey, Merry Christmas, everyone.
Have a happy holiday, a happy Hanukkah, a happy Kwanzaa, the Festivus for the rest of us, the airing of grievances and the feats of strength. For whatever it is you celebrate, I hope you have a wonderful time and be excited about the progress that the Titans offense has made over the course of the last 3 weeks. Okay, three games. They're averaging 26 points a game. The first 12, they averaged 12 points a game. That is I'm not great at math, PK, but 26 more than 12.
More than double.
More than double the 12. All right, everybody, have a great holiday. I am Braden Gall. That's Paul Kuharsky. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next time.